Gary, a 3-1 loss to Aldershot Town. What were your makings of that first off?
Pleased with a lot of aspects of our game. Played against really good opposition. I said that these 3 games were always going to be tough on paper, tough out on the pitch, and it's proved to be the case. We've had one win and 2 defeats in these 3 National League sides, and I'm overly pleased with performance in parts in all of them. Today, we were moved about. We played against a system that they played really well, a system that they're really familiar with, and it really did challenge us to on our decision making. And I think in general we played it out really well. The 2 goals that we've conceded are both avoidable. I mean, we give up possession in high up the pitch on the second one, and they broke on us, and we've not followed in on a parry from the goalkeeper, which is disappointing. And the first one you can't legislate for, it's an error, it's a mistake. But our response was excellent. We scored an excellent goal just before half time, and then for the next 15-20 minutes of the second half, before we made the changes, I was really pleased with that, and had again 2 or 3 openings that that could have played out differently, but many positives to come out of the game, and we're very much moving in the right direction.
Was that the message in the dressing room in that huddle at the end of the game? Was it more kind of words of encouragement?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, no, I don't like losing games. I said that after the Braintree game. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't mind if it's a game of pool in the bar. I don't like losing. It's just in my nature, and it's no different today. And I said that in the huddle, but in the context of the game and the context of the opposition, we've made a really good account of ourselves. What we're at now, we're 4 games into pre-season. My message to the group is that we need to now start nailing down, starting 11s for the 9th of August. I said, with the addition of Jack Evans, which I'm really pleased about, that we've managed to get that sorted, and I can't thank the board enough for that. But we've got to now sort of, be homing in on where we need to be. And I said to the group that it's now about making sure performance levels are heightened. We fine-tune certain aspects of individual performances to make sure we're exactly where we need to be collectively come the 9th. We're a really good, strong 18, 19 players. We've got a couple of health issues in there, but it's still looking like a real difficult, selection process to get the 11 right. So it's up to the players to make it as easy as they possibly can.
Yeah, you touched on how difficult it's going to be to get into the sides. Obviously, Jack Evans kind of re-signed. What can we expect from him? Whereabouts is he going to operate on this side?
Well, he's a central midfielder, can play in that 6 or 8. Which we're sort of setting our 2 central midfielders up. We're not 4s. We want them to be in touch with everything we're doing as a front 4. We've done a lot of work on that, so I expect him to be, one of them central midfield players that is competing with 3 or 4 other players for sort of 2 berths. Really, there's certain games that we will play 3 in there. I think today was one of them games, but we were desperate to try and fit both Elliott and Nashi in, and it was against tough opposition, but. If we were selecting that and it was a trophy game or an FA Cup game, we may have gone with 3 midfielders more so than the attacking midfielders that Nash and Long are. So Jack will give us great ball manipulation. His ball retention is excellent. His restarts are as good as any in the division and the division above. Deliveries will be right where our attacking players will want them to be, and he's going to create as well. When we want to play vertically quickly, pass 1 and pass 2 is really important, and he's got that in his makeup. So he complements a really strong midfield, and that is more likely one of the toughest areas of selection going forward.
When can we see him? Is he going to be there
Tuesday?
For Tuesday?
Yeah, he's been put through his paces today. I was reluctant to give him minutes today, but I left that decision with him. But he felt that he's had 2 or 3 weeks of not quite being where he needs to be fitness-wise. So Mark put him through his paces today. Not too demanding, because we wanted to make sure he was where he needed to be for Tuesday night. But the plan is to give him 45 minutes on Tuesday against Faversham, all being well. So he's up and running, and he's in contention if he gets his levels where they need to be for the 9th of August.
Yeah, you mentioned fitness. Any news on Alfie and Jazz? That
Jazzy's, he's jarred his knee, so he's still got a bit of discomfort. He wanted a fitness test for today, but we pulled back on that and said, look, let's, take care of it. He went out and done a small bit of work, but could still feel a little bit of discomfort in there. We're hoping that, and don't think it's too serious, but he's going to need to be assessed further. Alfie's just had groin and hip issues all summer since his injury, sort of the 3 or 4 games before the end, and he's done a lot of strengthening work on it, a lot of work all through the summer on it, all of the stuff that he was supposed to do, but the explosive nature that games bring and even pre-season brings, it's just meant that he's fallen off a little in that side, and he's not feeling as strong as he would like. So he's got to have some further investigation, but we're hoping again it's not too serious.
Fixtures released on
and there's
Thursday.
one other, obviously you haven't mentioned Ben Stewart. He's the third that's in there that's not figured in pre-season, but he's already had his knee investigated, and it's not great news. We're waiting for him to see a consultant on Monday, but he could be a little longer term as well.
Fixtures obviously came out on Thursday.
Yeah.
You raring to go?
Yeah, we are. On paper, it's a tough run of games to start with, but it's the type of run of games that if we start well and start really positively, which we're capable of, you may sort of start seeing a side that just starts to ooze confidence and feels like it's got an untouchable nature. I think that run of fixtures does create that mindset, and that's what I'll be sharing with the group. Start well and start fast in them opening 5 games. I think it's going to serve us really well going forward. But yeah, can't wait to get started. 4 games left still in pre-season. Those still 3 weeks to overcome, and we've got to try and stay as healthy as we possibly can.